Hi everyone, my name is Mohammed. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Benji. At Benji, we've built a chatbot that finds tax write-offs for content creators in US and Canada. Today, I'm just going to go through a quick demo to show you how our app works. But of course, you can also get started from our website and then download the app afterwards. For the sake of this demo, I'm going to pretend I am a content creator in US based in California. But of course, we're available in US and Canada, so feel free to give us a try. So let's get going. So first, we're just going to say, of course, California. Then we're going to keep going. Since I'm pretending that I don't work full-time and I only work on my business, so I'm just going to say self-employed here. As you can see, we currently don't support corporations, so that's S Corp in US or provincial corporations in Canada, but we are adding support for that later this summer, so look out for that. Let's keep going. So, okay, I'm a content creator. Maybe I also sell courses, or actually for the sake of the demo, let's just stick to content creator for now. You can of course look them up and see and pick and choose. Let's say that I started doing my taxes or started doing my content creation business last year. So that's why I'm downloading Benji and getting started with the taxes. I don't have any other employees from a self-employed business. I use my phone about 30% of the time. Of course, if you're not sure what to do, you can just tap on feeling unsure to get an explanation. But I'll just keep things going. So home office, I do work from home. Let's say I don't travel or at least go around the town or whatnot from using my car. Traveling in terms of like flying out to other conferences and whatnot. Let's say, yes, I do, because I'm going to go attend a webinar, or not a webinar, but a conference. And then let's say for the sake of this, yeah, I do meet folks from time to time for talk about projects coming up and whatnot. And no, I don't sell any sort of products or services online. So let's keep going. Okay, so here are all the different things Benji's going to look for. There's a lot more that's going to go through, but for the sake of this demo, we're just going to keep things simple. And then I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to create a demo email, and then I'm just going to give it a password, and hopefully the screen is not showing what I'm typing in for the sake of this. All right, cool. So let's create that account. Benji is now asking us for connecting our bank account. Of course, you can connect as many different bank accounts and credit cards with Benji. We use Plaid to connect and import all of those transactions. Of course, Benji doesn't keep or store any of your bank details. That's all handled through Plaid. So one less thing for us to worry about in terms of protecting our privacy. Okay, so there we go. I was able to connect to Plaid to my demo bank account. And now I'm just going ahead and selecting, different accounts that may be visible. For your use case, of course, you're going to see your account. For here, I'm just showing you the demo account. All right, so that's connected. I can now choose if I'm using one of my accounts as personal or business. So for example, maybe you have a credit card that you're only using for business, or maybe you are connecting additional accounts that are only used for business. So this is a good chance for you to be able to specify that. Of course, for this demo, I'm just going to leave it blank. And let's turn on notifications because I want to know when Benji finds tax write-offs and contacts me and lets me know that. If you don't turn on the push notifications, you won't get that regular update from Benji when it does find tax write-offs. So I do encourage it. Of course, you can turn the push notifications off if you're no longer finding value in it. So right now, Benji is importing all of the transactions from the bank account. Benji is going through each one of those transactions, cleaning them up. So rather than your transaction, showing, let's say, Calendly, phone number, exchange rate, all of that kind of stuff, it's just making it very clean and just saying Calendly. Then of course it's going through and it's categorizing each of the transactions one by one based on your specific tax profile. So this way, because we've said that we use a portion of our home as a home office, we use our phone, we don't sell products online, we do meet folks for meetings over food and whatnot. So it's able to process all of that. It makes it easier. And okay, there we go. All of the importing is done. Now let's get started. So let's do this. And let's see what Benji has found for us in terms of tax write-offs. So processing. Cool. So hi, Mohammed. I'm Benji, and I'm here to help you find tax write-offs. Sounds good. And then, of course, it's explained that, hey, it will ask you it'll ask you questions that seem obvious at start. And that's the case just because imagine you're working with a bookkeeper who doesn't know which of your transactions are personal, which are business. And so this is helping go through that. So again, this is a demo account, so please don't be alarmed by a lot of the amounts that you're seeing on here. But again, for the sake of this demo, we'll say yes, that this was for phone bill. So I can just go ahead and say yep. And then the next part here, what's happening is that as Benji is processing that, it's also asking me, it's like, hey, do you want me to just remember this going forward? Is because if this is always the case, I'll just keep that in check. So this way you're not having to review those transactions one by one each time, and it'll just remember that for you. So there you go. That was pretty easy. You've reviewed your first transaction, but for the sake of this, let's go and review a few more transactions to see what the experience is like. So, all right, yeah, let's go. Okay, so watch CVS. Okay, so here it's asking me if was this a medical expense. I'll say no, it was a personal expense. Again, maybe you are spending $500 at CVS, but just keep in mind this is all demo data. So the goal is not to look at how much I'm not spending $500 at CVS is all I'm trying to say. I mean, if I was, that's a lot. And there are people that are, so no judgment there. Okay, so we'll keep going. All right, so I found a transaction for Audible. It's asking me if that was for professional development. So in my case, I would say that yes, Audible is professional development because the only books that I'm getting there are more suited to me as a content creator, me as a business owner, me as a self-employed individual, and how I can go about improving a business. So I'll say, yeah, that was professional development. And then next part is that, hey, do you want me to keep remembering that? Of course, I want Benji to remember it just because all of my Audible subscriptions are for that specific purpose. So I then don't have to review the transactions one by one. Local property management. Okay, so home rent. Okay, yeah, so I can say, yep, that was for home rent. And I don't have to then go ahead and do much more with that. So it's like, yep. Yes, please just remember that. Of course, we have updated this data and cleaned it up for the sake of this demo. If you were to, wonder, it's like, oh, like I don't think I fully get this. So you can actually just tap on the question itself as you can see the little arrow on it. So if I tap it, it'll open up the screen and then you can kind of like go ahead and change the category if you wanted to, or you can even update the description to meet something better. Or if you're not really sure what's going on, you can just tap on check Google and it'll pull stuff up in Google to be like, oh yes, okay, now I remember what that transaction for. So it makes it super easy for you to be able to get a better sense of your transactions right in this tax transaction review flow, rather than you having to like go out of the app and then search on Google or whatnot. So yep, Squarespace, that was marketing promotion. So I'm just going to say, yep, that looks good. And then it'll process some more. It's going to look for other transactions that are also available from Squarespace. And because I'm saying, yep, always categorize it such, it's going to remember that, but it's also going to go through and start reviewing more transactions that I may have had. So McDonald's, was this a business meal? Also no, McDonald's would just be personal for me. So I'm just going to say that. And then it's going to ask me again, hey, do you want me to remember that? Yeah, always McDonald's is personal. Of course, if I make any mistakes, I can like edit it, fix it. I can even go to transaction screen and be able to make those changes. So here it's asking me, hey, do you need a break or should we wrap it up? I'm going to be like, say, yes, please. I think I'm done for today. So it's going to wrap things up and then we'll go to the transaction screen and see what that is like. Cool. So, one thing I forgot to mention is that at any given time, if you weren't sure what that transaction was for, you could just like select the option at the bottom that says contact bookkeeper. And then this way, you can send that transaction with your question to the bookkeeper, and the bookkeeper will be with you in about one business day. Right now it's been under a business day, but just for the sake of this demo, you can just tap on contact bookkeeper. This is a demo message. Please ignore. And there we go. Cool. So let's send that over. So now you can see that, okay, I've sent a message. Bookkeeper will be in touch. Now let's go over to the transaction screen, right? So as you can see, there's a lot more transactions here that are under reviewed. Excuse me. But if we look at the reviewed, you'll see like, oh, Benji has reviewed even a lot of my older transactions. So even though you've technically reviewed 6 transactions in this demo, because they're all from the same merchants and we have a lot of that data cleaned up, you'll see that it has essentially reviewed a lot more of your transactions. The other thing that we also do is that if you have transactions that are credit card payments or transfers, our system essentially identifies those and then automatically reviews those for you. So this way you don't have to essentially review those tasks that are just letting you know, like, hey, you've made a credit card bill and whatnot. So let's go to the home screen and see what's going on there. So for us so far. So now, okay, there's $459.72 in tax write-offs that we have found so far. As you can see, everything here is broken down to how the Schedule C tax form looks like. Similarly, if you're in Canada, it'll be for T2125 and it'll be broken down in that same manner. So if I tap on business expenses, you can see everything here are essentially organized in the categories that are in Schedule C, or if you'll be in Canada, it'll be for T2125. And all you have to do essentially is put these values in your tax form and be able to, or you can even once you're done reviewing your transactions, you can send an export of this to your accountant to be able to have them fill out your taxes for home expenses. So let's say I'm using about, small bedroom. No, definitely not. It's the size of a small bedroom. So let's say I'm using about 30 square feet, for this. For the sake of this purpose. So now it has already updated that for me using the simplified method. But of course, you can use the regular method as well too. But that'll require you to put in the home square footage, total home square footage, to be able to then calculate all the deductions for you. And then similarly, for those in US, we can let you do simple or standard calculation method as well too. So let's say for the year so far, I've driven 100, even though I said before I didn't, just for the sake of this purpose, we'll put in some amounts here. So it's like, okay, for 100 miles driven, using the standard mileage calculation, you have, $65.50 of deductions. Of course, you can put in additional value to get the actual vehicle expenses if you choose to. But this in general, hopefully should provide you with a quick breakdown of how Benji works, all the way from how easy it is for you to find tax write-offs, for how simple and clean everything is in terms of being able to review your transactions or be able to change them after, but then also utilizing the tax report to make it super easy. Now, the great part with Benji is that because it's free for your first $1,000 in tax write-offs, if I was to stop here and it's like, hey, I found all my deductions, you don't have to pay us anything. The only time you're going to pay Benji anything is once you find $1,000 or more in tax write-offs. So this way our incentives are aligned. We want to make sure that we make it easier for you. All right, I think I'll stop here. Once we make additional updates, I'll be sure to share more. Thanks for tuning in.